At the International Pool and Spa Show in Vegas, looking at the Endless Pools unit. Y'all go by Endless Pools or you go by Fastlane?
Endless Pools is our company name. Fastlane
Is the
one of
unit.
our products. Fastlane
Okay.
Pro, technically.
Fastlane Pro is the name of the unit. These new construction or renovation,
Correct.
any style pool.
Fiberglass, steel panel, gunite, concrete. We have brackets for all those. There's wall mounts. This particular one is a deck mount. There's retrofit kits. There's safety ledge kits for fiberglass pools that have a safety ledge that sits farther out. We've done a pretty good job engineering, figuring out all the different pool types out there. Every now and then we get a surprise, but we try and engineer our way around it.
Renovation, it's a fairly easy install. We basically just core drill underneath the coping above the water line to get our mount. We have to get a bond to it. The pump, which we'll be showing in a minute, also has to be bonded. The unit is fairly large, but it can't come out.
These four screws
on top.
attach it, take those off. This whole unit can lift out of the pool. Obviously, our power unit's right close to the pool here, so we've just coiled the rest of it up. If you go farther than that, you just need an additional hose lengths that we can provide. They're a little bit higher diameter, and a junction box, and you go up to 200 feet after that.
And by the way, this pump is running. This is not the old Fastlane that was just sound like a screaming camel.
Yes,
it was.
We now use a helical gear pump, which is the decibels, believe it or not, are about the same. It's the pitch of that noise that is different.
Okay, because we're having a conversation. This is operating right now. The actual pump does not have to be mounted, or it does not have to be located with the pool circulation system. It can be mounted anywhere. You just have to get power to the pump. What's the amperage on the pump? What size 220 line do you have to get?
So it's a 220, 30 amp, GFI protected circuit. The amperage is variable depending on the work that you're putting on the motor. So the higher the speed, the higher the amperage.
Okay.
It's going to max out depending on the frequency and the phase. But assuming single phase, 60 hertz frequency, you're looking at about a max of 23 to 24 amps at full speed.
30 amp circuit is all you
30
got to get to.
Yep.
But again, has to be bonded, has to be part of the whole bonding circuit that's on the pool itself.
Yeah.
So you do have to.
Just legally speaking, yes.
For safety issues, corrosion issues, for salt pools, highly recommend an anode, a sacrificial anode.
And not just recommend, absolutely
It's required.
insist. Yes.
Yes,
And
required.
bonding has to be in place.
If you don't do that, you're eating the warranty.
There is no warranty if those stipulations are not adhered to. Then yes.
Right.
But however, there is also a more aggressive replacement schedule. So on a regular, if you're using a standard type of chlorination or bromine or potassium monopersulfate,
Right.
whatever you're anything other than a salt chlorine generator, the scheduled maintenance is to replace the motor every 6 years. That's the motor that sits inside
The motor
unit
that's inside here,
drives
that's
the propeller, the
actually
underwater
being
motor.
hydraulically driven.
Yes.
Okay.
If you're in a different environment where you're using a salt chlorine generator, it's a more aggressive scheduled maintenance where you replace the motor and the hoses every 2 years to avoid corrosion and leaks of the hydraulic fluid. Because if the seal in the motor goes, you get hydraulic fluid. 2 years with salt chlorine generators, 6 years otherwise. I mean, essentially, we're using a whole different type of power transmission. So your other systems will use a regular pump with much larger lines.
And sometimes 2 to 3 pumps.
Correct. And they're not as variable, they're not as smooth, and because of the power transmission, they consume a lot more energy than the simple hydraulics. So we're using a 30 amp circuit, we're only getting up to about 23 amps. We use multiple pumps at 4 or 5 horsepower. They require a 60 amp circuit. I don't know exactly what their specification of what they max out at.
There's different ones.
Yeah, there's different ones, but they're using a lot more energy to create an actually inferior current. He's got his Auburn trunks in. I went and installed one of the Elite units down at Auburn.
Okay.
So the Fastlane unit is the slowest of them. And what you would normally see inside this vinyl liner steel tank here is a bench system. And that bench system has return channels, basically. They look.
Okay.
So you have a grill in the back and the turning vanes in the corner, so it creates a convection, which makes it a little smoother and a little faster. Well, instead of in the Fastlane, you've got this big barrel and the water's just sucking into the barrel.
Right.
With the bench system, it creates a convection, and so it makes it a little smoother and a little faster.
Okay.
Then we have another grade up from there, which is Performance, which is a single motor with 2 counter-pitched propellers, which is a little bit wider of a current as well. So it's, again, a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. And then we go up to the Elite, where you have a 7.5 horsepower unit, 2 propellers, 2 motors.
And that would be for a high competitive Olympic type
You're
swimmer.
talking about a river
collegiate
of water
swimmer.
that will literally walk right off the back of that pool.
That then you could kayak on. Do y'all have treadmills that go with your systems?
We have an underwater treadmill if running, walking, water resistance, if that's your kind of thing. Yep. We also have pace displays that can tell you roughly how fast you're going relative, like in percentage or yards per, pace per yards or pace per meters.
Right.
And we have a Fit at Home app now that you can download and play with for free in demo mode, but you can actually control the unit by setting programs where you don't actually have to touch the transmitter. It will do it for you.
So you can do this speed for
Interval
this amount of
training,
time. And,
yeah, and longer swims than just we have a 30-minute timeout on the unit that's come set, but you can program the app for I think up to like 2 or 3 hours of straight swimming continuously, and if you want to vary that as you go. So if you do a warm up,
Right.
and then a swim, and then a cool down, it'll all do that for you. You just have to program it in, and the unit will do it.
Right. Well, it's a fantastic unit. You are now a PIP with Pullworks, and I'm a Pullworks franchisee, so I'm real excited about that. So is this the remote that y'all use?
Yeah, so that little teal thing is the transmitter.
Okay. So that's the transmitter.
Faster, slower, on, off. I don't want to turn it off
Right,
around
no.
here, but
You know, he'd probably go through the end of the pool.
yeah, and there's increments, right? So you set it to your increment and go swim as you go.
You know, another thing that I love about it, just to put a button on it, is the intake and outtake is so smooth.
Right.
I mean, look how smooth the water is. There's no waves. You know
Right,
what I
it's
mean?
not
There's
turbulent.
no turbulence.
You're right.
And that's really important for stroke technique. So for a swimmer that wants to work on their technique, it's a perfect place. I have a mirror on the bottom of mine so I can really see my stroke. I have a mirror on top. I'm watching my backstroke. But really, I have 5 grandchildren. I can't get them out of it because they're in there playing on it, they're surfing on it, and they get a boogie
Right.
board.
Oh, your boogie boards
Oh, yeah.
out against it.
So for me, this is my life.
Right.
But for my grandkids and my dad is 90 years old and he gets it and swims in it.
Hey, and you said yours is actually in the basement of your home.
Well, I had one in the basement of my home when I lived in Birmingham. Now it's I live in Florida now.
Oh, so now you got an outdoor pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's outdoor now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Rowdy.
No problem.